maybe now's the time to give some final thoughts on this Carpuride unit, the 702B Pro that I have on the Triumph Tiger 900 Rally Pro. Overall, I can say I am pleased with the unit. It's been a great companion, largely because I use it for the maps. I know I have BMW Navigator 6, which I do like for navigation, but sometimes Garmin can be a little bit of a screw up when it comes to navigation. That's probably the weakest point of the Nav 6. That and the flaky screen. Having this Carpuride means I have Apple CarPlay, and Apple CarPlay is excellent for hands-free operation of your cell phone when you're on the move. One of the things that I liked about it is that I can take and respond to texts at any time if I want to. Of course, a lot of people say, well, why do you want to be in contact while you're on the road? You know, I have the option with CarPlay to do that if I want to or not. You know, whereas if you don't have something like that, then you have no option, but you don't have it. To each his own. But yes, I do like the ability to take and receive calls, take and receive texts, and you know, and I can respond to them safely. Of course, I can say and I can confirm that the screen is nice and bright. Right now I've got some cloud cover, and so the sun isn't brilliant at the moment, which is good because it keeps the temperature down. Speaking about temperature, the unit was in temperatures as high as 101 degrees Fahrenheit, which was yesterday, and it never missed a beat. Any kind of glitches that I've had with this Carpuride have not been due to heat or due to excess, you know, temperature of the unit or anything like that. It's been, you know, pretty darn stable all throughout. And in a previous video, I'd mentioned its performance in wet weather. And despite the fact that I don't have that door on the side of the unit where the SD card goes, it never missed, it never leaked any water after that. Now, I'll be honest with you, I have not checked. In over the week that I've been gone, I have not checked the, you know, the little electrical tape that I put over the hole. So I can't say, I can't even tell you if it's there. Maybe it's there, maybe it's not. Now that I think about it. But my wife said that Carpuride did ship all the way from China. It didn't get here in time for my trip, but all the way from China, the pieces and the screws came in the mail. I've got all the apps that I need. Of course, I've just been using my music apps mostly, Sirius XM and others, as well as my library, my music library on the phone. I use that as well, so I've got enough music to keep me going. And also, you've got the podcast apps and Apple News, which, you know, you can get the audio version of that. So yeah, it's a great companion. In terms of draining a battery, I've got an iPhone 13 Pro, which I have not put inside the tank bag or anything like that. The whole idea about having this Carpuride is that you can put your phone away, store it safely out of sight, out of mind, whatever. But I find that every now and again it disconnects from CarPlay and it goes to the home screen of the Carpuride. I've got a friend who has a Chiggy. Now he is pretty new to his Chiggy, so he hasn't had his Chiggy for a long time. He noticed the same thing happening to his Chiggy. He has, I believe, an Android phone, but he says that sometimes it drops the connection to Android Auto. Now these are wirelessly connected, but some units require a wired connection from the phone to the unit. With a wired connection, it's more stable. It'll never disconnect. And that's what I have in my Volkswagen Golf. I have a wired connection to CarPlay. but here it's a wireless connection. Wireless connection ostensibly means that you can have it remote. Like for example, this Triumph Tiger has a battery, a phone compartment under the passenger seat, complete with charging connection. So I could put my phone behind there, completely secure and out of the way, and have this connection wirelessly with the Carpuride. But because it drops connection every now and again, and so forth, I kind of want it, close by. That's why I have the phone still mounted in front where it's always been. Aside from that, my phone itself, forgetting about the Carpuride for a moment, my phone, I believe I mentioned this in a previous video, but my phone has a little bit difficulty establishing an automatic connection with my Cardo headset with Bluetooth. So sometimes when for example, I'm riding home from the office and I turn on my Cardo headset and I activate Sirius XM on the phone, nothing comes through the headset. Even though it says it's connected, nothing comes through the headset. So what I've got to do is deactivate Bluetooth on the iPhone, like turn Bluetooth off from settings, turn it back on, reestablish the connection with the Cardo, and then I get my my music. So, I think the default is with the Bluetooth in the iPhone. Another thing too, and this is a little bit beside the point, is that when I connect my phone to the Tiger's Bluetooth, sometimes the connection is a little bit flaky and sometimes it drops. So what's the common thing amongst all of these electronic gadgets is the iPhone Bluetooth. Now, I don't know if that's the 100% cause of this issue with the CarPlay, the Carpuride unit dropping from CarPlay back into the home screen and not being able to connect. And the way I've worked around that is when that happens, I just turn the screen on the phone, log in, hopefully it recognizes my face, and I don't have to stop, log in, and go to settings, go to Carpuride, and I don't know if that does anything, but somehow or the other it reestablishes the connection, and then it'll stay like that, connected, for hours on end. So it's an intermittent thing. It happens, but there's no explanation. All of a sudden it'll drop. I can't blame that on the Carpuride unit. I'm not confident enough to say that it's the Carpuride's fault. But as I mentioned in a previous video, they have no proper way to readily update the firmware of their units, because on their website they don't have a download section. And when I get back home, I'm going to raise this. I'm going to send an email to support and find out how I can get updates for my Carpuride unit when I need them. It's really stupid to not have the firmware, a section for firmware downloads. And that's a negative that I mentioned before in my previous video on this Carpuride unit. But anyway, getting back to the unit itself, as you can see right now, the sun is kind of hazy, it's kind of peeking through some thin clouds, so I've got a little bit of sun there. But the sun is ahead of me, so it's not impinging, it's not directly shining on the screen. But I've had the sun behind me, and the screen has been bright enough. Right now, I've got it showing Apple Maps. This beautiful big 7-inch screen is definitely a plus. It's a thumbs up. It has operated flawlessly. The response is decent. I will confirm, there has been another YouTuber that had a very short video about the Carpuride unit, and his title was saying, "Do not use this thing on tour." And it's a very catchy title for his video. But when you see what he's saying, I can understand what he's saying. This Carpuride unit, and I guess the one he has, which is, I don't know, I think it was a 6-inch, is no good for zooming in and out. It's terrible. Right now I can touch this, and then the controls come up for zoom in and out, minus and plus, and I can accurately hit the minus, to push it out, and it doesn't, sometimes, well, right now it just did it, but sometimes it just does not respond. So you'd be punching and punching and punching on that negative, with the tip of your thumb where the contact is best. You're touching and touching and it doesn't move. Pinching, forget about it. Pinch and zoom, it doesn't respond very well. I even tested this at home, sitting in my desk with the Carpuride in there, my bare fingers, and again, it was not very good. Whether I agree with him to say that do not use this on a tour, you can get around that, I guess. You can live with it. If you're using Google navigation or Apple Maps like I'm doing right now, you can. I didn't get lost, put it that way, and I'm on tour. So, I wouldn't make the same conclusion with him. Do not go on tour with it. But I will agree that the zoom function is crap on this. I'm not gonna hold back on that. Either they need to improve their software, and I'll mention this to them in the support email that I'm going to be sending. But really, that's the only downside to this. Connection to my BMW Navic or Garmin mount has been great. As you can see, maybe right now it's kind of vibrating a little bit. It shakes a little bit. And I went over that in the previous video. It will necessarily do that because there's a lot of cantilever action going on there with the mount that I have. So you got to expect that. It's not the unit's fault. And but that didn't affect any operation or anything. It didn't, crap out because of that. So yes, it's a good unit. Whether it's, like I mentioned before, whether it's worth $250, well, that was the sale price for me. It's listed for far more than that. Whether it's worth that to you, you have to make your decision. Whether music and phone navigation and podcasts and being able to take and receive calls easily, being able to listen to your text and respond to your text, being able to use Siri and give it instructions for... that's another point. So I've got Google Maps on this thing here. And Google Maps does not respond as well as Apple Maps in terms of the integration with Siri. I suppose I have to learn how to use Siri with Google Maps. But I have found that, say for example, I'm navigating right now with the Apple Maps. I can ask Siri, about the restaurants up ahead, and when I find one, Siri will respond and it'll read out a list of restaurants, and I'll allow me to choose one. Then it'll present the option to either call the restaurant or whatever business, call them or get directions. And then if I say get directions, would you like me to add it to the trip? So I can add it to the trip easily, all while talking to Siri. The integration with Google is not that as good and not as seamless. So, using CarPlay, I tend to default to using the Apple Maps. Now, remember years ago, Apple Maps was, it sucked. It used to not be very good for navigation and so on and so forth. That's a long time ago. Since then, they have improved it, and I think it's trustworthy now. And I've never had any problems with it over recent years. So the integration with Siri is much, much, much appreciated. So much so that I reach for Apple Maps whenever I am using this Carpuride unit. So yeah, whether it's a good value to you for that price point, the technology itself I don't think is worth the $300 and something. Regular price, $370 or whatever is regular price. But they have, of course, always got some kind of a 33% off or something like that, which just goes to show what the true price should be. But even at that true price and the price that I paid for it, it's up to you to decide whether your use case, justifies spending, let's say, $240 as I did on this technology. For me, I go on long distance tours, and just to add that little bit of extra comfort and enjoyment to the trip, having this Carpuride is definitely an advantage. Thumbs up.